Let's be brutally honest. Life doesn't care how you feel. The world won't slow down because you're tired, lost, or uncertain. And yet, most people live their entire lives chained by weakness, emotional weakness, mental weakness, and spiritual weakness. But the Stoics, they saw life differently. They believed weakness isn't something you're born with. It's something you allow. And if you train your mind with the same intensity that a warrior trains his body, you can destroy every trace of that weakness and rebuild the strongest version of yourself. These are 7 brutal Stoic laws that will toughen your spirit, silence your excuses, and reshape the way you face everything in life. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't reward the soft. It rewards the disciplined, the calm, the ones who move forward no matter what. So if you're ready to stop being the person who wishes for strength and become the one who embodies it, stay until the end. This is the Stoic path to killing your weakness and rebuilding the real you. And before we dive in, if you want more Stoic wisdom that helps you rise above chaos, subscribe to the channel and join thousands of others sharpening their minds every week. Law 1. Master your reactions. Emotions make slaves. Discipline makes kings. Weakness begins where control ends. Most people live as slaves, not to other men, but to their emotions. One insult, one rejection, one failure, and their entire mood collapses. They let temporary feelings decide permanent outcomes. The Stoics saw this as the ultimate form of weakness. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In that single line lies the foundation of emotional mastery. You can't control the chaos around you, but you can control how you respond. And that control is power. When someone disrespects you, your instincts scream for revenge. When plans fall apart, your emotions push you toward despair. But every time you pause, every time you breathe, and every time you choose reason over rage, you become stronger. That's Stoic law number 1. Master your reactions before your reactions master you. Weak people explode. Strong people endure. Weak people let emotions define them. Stoics use emotions as signals, not commands. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled an empire yet remained humble, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional mastery doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you control what those feelings do. When you're angry, it means you care about something deeply. When you're afraid, it means something valuable is at stake. Use that awareness, but never let it rule you. Because when emotions lead, reason dies. When reason dies, weakness takes over. To master your reactions, start small. Don't respond instantly to anger. Don't feed the voice that says, "They hurt me, I'll hurt them back." That's ego, not wisdom. Instead, detach and ask, "What's within my control right now?" That question is the sword of Stoicism. It cuts through emotion and reveals truth. Every storm passes. Every emotion fades. But the one who remains calm through the storm, that's the one who wins. Law 1. Control yourself, or the world will control you. Cross swords. Law 2. Love the struggle. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Here's the brutal truth. The easy path makes you soft. Every moment you avoid discomfort, you reinforce weakness. The Stoics didn't just accept struggle, they loved it. They believed hardship was the forge where strength is born. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." In other words, your suffering is your training. Every obstacle, every rejection, every delay is shaping you into something unbreakable. But modern life has made us allergic to pain. We chase comfort like it's salvation, soft beds, easy jobs, instant pleasure. And yet, this comfort quietly kills our fire. It makes us reactive, fearful, entitled. The Stoic warrior, on the other hand, wakes up and says, "Let the world test me." They don't fear failure. They welcome it. Because each struggle is proof they're alive, proof they're moving, proof they're growing. When you adopt this mindset, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That's the Stoic transformation, from victim to victor. The next time you face something hard, lean in. When you feel the urge to quit, push one step further. When everything feels uncertain, remember, this is the training ground for your future self. Comfort builds cowards. Struggle builds warriors. So stop wishing for an easy life. Wish for the strength to endure a hard one. Because when you can love the pain, you can survive anything. Law 2. Love the struggle, for it's the only place where real power is born. Crossed swords. Law 3. Silence your mind. Most battles are lost in thought. Overthinking is a disease of the modern mind. You replay the past, you predict the future, and you forget to live in the present. The Stoics understood this poison thousands of years ago. They knew that worry drains power faster than any enemy ever could. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In simple terms, the problem isn't the problem. Your thoughts about it are. When you worry about what people think, you give them power. When you obsess over what might happen, you suffer twice. Once in your imagination and once in reality. Stoicism teaches that peace is found only in the present, in focusing on what's real, what's now, what's controllable. Imagine how much energy you waste thinking about what if. What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if it doesn't work? The Stoics saw this as mental weakness, a loop that feeds fear. Instead, they practiced mental silence. They trained their minds to stay calm, observe thoughts, and let them pass like clouds. They didn't fight overthinking. They ignored it into weakness. You can practice this right now. When you catch yourself spiraling in thought, pause. Ask, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act. If no, let it go. The more you detach from unnecessary thoughts, the more power you reclaim. You stop reacting to everything and start responding like a thinker, not a victim. Silence is the ultimate strength. The world is loud. Everyone's screaming opinions, emotions, fears. But the Stoic remains calm, quiet, steady, like still water reflecting truth. Law 3. Silence your mind. Because clarity is the weapon of the strong, and noise is the weakness of the lost. Law 4. Detach from opinions. Their judgment is none of your business. Weakness thrives on approval. You scroll, you compare, you post, and you wait. For validation, for likes, for someone to tell you that you're enough. But the Stoics saw this as a silent form of slavery. Epictetus warned, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What he meant was simple. Freedom begins when you stop caring how others see you. Think about it. How many times have you changed your decisions, your words, even your dreams, just to please others? You sacrifice authenticity for acceptance. But every time you do, you trade a piece of your strength for their approval. Imagine how much energy you waste thinking about what if. What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if it doesn't work? The Stoics saw this as mental weakness, a loop that feeds fear. Instead, they practiced mental silence. They trained their minds to stay calm, observe thoughts, and let them pass like clouds. They didn't fight overthinking. They ignored it into weakness. You can practice this right now. When you catch yourself spiraling in thought, pause. Ask, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act. If no, let it go. The more you detach from unnecessary thoughts, the more power you reclaim. You stop reacting to everything and start responding like a thinker, not a victim. Silence is the ultimate strength. The world is loud. Everyone's screaming opinions, emotions, fears. But the Stoic remains calm, quiet, steady, like still water reflecting truth. Law 3. Silence your mind. Because clarity is the weapon of the strong, and noise is the weakness of the lost. Law 4. Detach from opinions. Their judgment is none of your business. Weakness thrives on approval. You scroll, you compare, you post, and you wait. For validation, for likes, for someone to tell you that you're enough. But the Stoics saw this as a silent form of slavery. Epictetus warned, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What he meant was simple. Freedom begins when you stop caring how others see you. Think about it. How many times have you changed your decisions, your words, even your dreams, just to please others? You sacrifice authenticity for acceptance. But every time you do, you trade a piece of your strength for their approval. The Stoic way is the opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every morning, reminding himself, "I do not have to be angry with those who criticize me. Their opinion cannot harm me unless I allow it." He was an emperor, mocked, hated, misunderstood, yet calm. Why? Because he had mastered detachment. Detachment doesn't mean arrogance. It means independence. It means you value truth over popularity and principles over applause. When you detach from opinions, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes quiet. You no longer waste energy defending yourself. You no longer fear judgment. You realize that most people's opinions are just reflections of their own insecurities. The Stoics knew that no one truly sees you. People see only their perception of you, filtered through their fears, envy, or admiration. So why let shadows rule your light? Remember this rule. You live according to your reason, not their reaction. So the next time someone criticizes you, say silently, "You are free to think as you wish, and I am free to remain unmoved." Law 4. Detach from opinions, because the only approval that matters is your own. Cross swords. Law 5. Turn pain into power. Suffering is the shortcut to greatness. Most people run from pain. Stoics run toward it. They understood that pain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Seneca wrote, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. Pain burns away weakness, ego, and illusion, and what's left is strength." When you face pain, heartbreak, loss, failure, you have two choices: break down or break through. Most people numb the pain, distract themselves, or blame others. But Stoics absorb it, analyze it, and turn it into discipline. Marcus Aurelius lost his wife, his children, his soldiers, his friends. Yet he never gave up. He said, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That's the Stoic mindset, to take pain and make it fuel. When you shift your view of suffering, everything changes. Pain becomes progress. Rejection becomes redirection. Failure becomes foundation. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Try me." Think of every great person you admire. Every warrior, leader, philosopher. None of them were built in peace. They were shaped by storms. Their greatness was not gifted. It was earned through pain. So, when life hits hard, don't curse it, thank it. It's showing you where you're still soft. It's carving out the version of you that cannot be broken. Pain demands a payment. But what you get in return is priceless. Strength, clarity, purpose. Law 5. Don't fear pain. Use it. Because the fire that burns you today will forge you tomorrow. Crossed swords. Law 6. Control what you can. Leave the rest to fate. One of the most liberating truths in Stoicism is this: most of life is outside your control. The weather, people's opinions, your past, the economy, luck. None of it belongs to you. But your thoughts, your choices, your attitude. That's where your power begins and ends. Epictetus built his entire philosophy around this idea. He said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not. Weak people waste their lives fighting what they can't control. Strong minds focus only on what they can. When something goes wrong, a plan fails, someone betrays you, an opportunity disappears, the average person panics. They blame, they complain, they collapse. But the Stoic pauses and asks, is this within my control? If the answer is no, they move on, calmly, deliberately, powerfully. That's not passivity. That's wisdom. Because trying to control the uncontrollable is how you exhaust your soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" In other words, fate is not your enemy, it's your path. When you stop resisting reality, peace begins. You realize that everything that happens, even the painful parts, is part of your growth. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but loving it, because it's shaping you into something extraordinary. So, focus where your control lives, your mind, your actions, your response. Let go of the rest. Law 6. Master what's yours, release what's not. That's how the Stoic stays unshaken while others fall apart. Crossed swords. Law 7. Remember death, memento mori. The final law is the one that puts everything into perspective. The Stoics meditated daily on a single truth. You will die. At first, that sounds dark, but it's actually freeing. Because the moment you remember your time is limited, you stop wasting it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." He didn't say this to cause fear, but to ignite urgency. Most people live like they have forever. They delay their dreams, hold grudges, live safely. They think they have time, but time is the one thing slipping away every second. The Stoic doesn't wait. They act. They love deeply, forgive quickly, speak truthfully, and live purposefully, because they know the clock is ticking. Remembering death kills weakness, the weakness of procrastination, fear, and ego. When you realize how temporary everything is, you stop chasing meaningless things. You stop caring about opinions, money, and fame, and start caring about legacy, virtue, and peace. Memento mori isn't about sadness. It's about clarity. It reminds you that every breath is a gift, every moment an opportunity. So live today as if you were born for it. Speak what matters. Build something eternal inside you. Because when death comes, and it will, let it find you alive, not asleep. Law 7. Remember death, not to fear it, but to live so boldly that it never finds you unprepared.